Hello. Well, I'm going to get into the day now. So here we go. Let me think. I got up at around, I would say like 10? Yeah, 10. And when I got up, I was asked by our family friend to move my car out of the way so they could go and study. So I did that. I drove my car out of the way and it was good to go. Before a family friend left, they were going to make breakfast. But before they did that, I needed to break my fast today because I did indeed break my fast today. And the reason why was because we had steaks that we were going to eat tonight, and those sounded really good to me. I wanted to eat them really bad. So I found out through Google search that the best way to break a fast is by scrambling one egg and eating it very slowly with a good slow chew and everything and swallow. So that way, your body's digestive enzymes can turn on gently, and then after about a half hour, you can then go on to eat a full meal. So I was like, yeah, I think I'll do that. So I ate the egg, and then after that, I thought to myself, my sister was telling me about the Butterjack burger from Jack in the Box. So I wanted to try that out. Our family friend offered to make huevos rancheros for me, but I politely declined, saying that I would like to try the Butterjack instead, so I would be driving to the Jack in the Box. I asked my sister if she would be interested, and she said yes. So we drove off to the Jack in the Box. As we were driving there, we were talking about just various things like conspiracy theories and like UAP, things like that. I brought up this new Jesse Michaels video that I watched where he talks about this book that was heavily censored by the Pentagon called the Sentinels of Ether. And I asked her if she would be interested in watching it, and she said yes. So I was like, all right. So we ordered the food. We waited quite a while. I'd say it was like about a 5 to 7 minute wait. But, that kind of food takes a while to make. We got 2 separate orders. I ordered a Butterjack with fries and a large Diet Dr. Pepper. And my sister got a Butterjack with, I think like 3 or 4 tacos. We drove back. When we arrived, I decided to park behind our family friend because it was like the quickest way to get back in, and they already left to study and came back before we came back, so I thought it'd be okay because they already did what they needed to do. So we came in. I opened the burger box up. I took a bite, and I was immediately taken back by the very buttery nature of the bun. I thought, wow, this is one really good bun. I really do like this. And the patty was very juicy, and the lettuce was very big and crispy, and the tomatoes were nice and plump. So it was pretty good overall. The fries, honestly, to me, were pretty standard. Nothing about them blew me away or told me, wow, this is like next level fries. I honestly, I thought that Jack in the Box gave their curly fries with any meal, but I guess you have to ask for curly fries instead of like it being offered with each meal. So next time I'd have to make sure to do that because I remember having the curly fries a while back when I was like a kid. So having them now would have been an interesting experience. The fries themselves were decent, but you know, if you've ever had generic fries before, then yeah, that's what they are. And yeah, Diet Dr. Pepper was all right. It was all right. Um, so we set our meals up on plates and we went outside into the den and we turned on the television and we found the Jesse Michaels video where he talked about the Sentinels of Ether. And we went through the whole video and my sister seemed to be quite into it. It was basically Jesse Michaels talking about the first two chapters of the book. Now, the thing with the book that I later found out when I was researching it, or later in the day, was that the way it was written was that Jake Barber, under a ghostwriter name, was writing pieces of the manuscript, sending them to the Pentagon, and then he got them back redacted. And the reason why was because he was writing what he suspected black budget programs were doing that were hidden from congressional oversight. But he wasn't sure, so he decided to write a book about it. And because he had strong ties with the military, he decided to send his manuscripts to the Pentagon to see what would be redacted and what would not be redacted. And then when he got his manuscripts back in pieces, he found that a lot of what he wrote back was black marked off. So it gave him a strong idea of like what could be happening in these black budget programs. So it was pretty interesting. And for those who don't know what black budget means, it's basically where a large portion of funds go into special access programs that are not accounted for by the government. And so it's basically funds that go dark and into projects that are completely off the grid that no one really knows about, unless you're part of this deep secondary military industrial complex world, like the shadow behind the front facing government or military. It's very interesting what's with all that. Yeah, so basically this he was able to publish the first two chapters of his novel, but everything else was pretty much withheld from the Pentagon and censored and not allowed to be released. So, yeah, basically Jesse Michaels is going over these two chapters, and it was very compelling. It was basically about this man who was escorting these people into what looked to be a giant cargo like container with an HVAC like fan on top of it to keep the inside cool, and it was being carried by like a Black Hawk helicopter or some kind of helicopter. I don't think, maybe it was Black Hawk. And the people but then he's stopped by these rogue agents who are wearing very casual clothing for some reason, and they essentially take him out and bring the people into these cargo holding units, and then they leave. And then within a war room, the commander is notified that one of his men was down, and it was described as a black on black encounter, and if you know what that means, it means one black budget program meets another black budget program, and one takes out the other, so that way nothing leaks out. Is what I understand from it. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so they decide to send some flying fighter jets to intercept this helicopter holding this container with these refugees in there. However, they reach a mountainous area where the helicopter goes through a mountain that like opens up for them, but for the two jets that were following, completely turns off their electronics, and one of them sadly is unable to survive the blasts, and they crash directly into the mountain. And then the novel ends where the helicopter drops off the cargo, which has the people in it, in this military base that's hidden inside a mountain by what can only be described as some form of holographic mountainous technology. So that's pretty much the story and what was released. And throughout the video, Jesse Michaels goes over various other stories that compare and contrast to this tale, and how everything connects. And from the story of Michael Herrera, where he was stopped by these dudes in unmarked military black uniforms who intimidated him, and he saw a bunch of cargo with HVAC units on top of it being loaded into what looked to be an octagonal black UFO. And so that kind of parallels Jake Barber's story. And then he talked about like smart dust technology, which could explain like why certain UAP are seen near mountain areas and how they seem to go into mountain areas and don't come out, as if these mountainous areas have secret entryways that are only specialized personnel are allowed to go into. And then he goes into deeper detail about how like psionic assets are something that can only be properly maintained if you get people who can perform psychokinetic abilities from third world countries, because apparently people from first world countries, they're part of a system where there's cameras everywhere, they're being tracked with like their phones and their medical records and their birth dates, their hospitals and everything. And so trying to get, and also like they eat diets that consist of a lot of chemicals and things, and so trying to get subjects to do psionic abilities in the first world countries is not possible. And apparently in the video it's described that people from third world countries can be taken these projects, and because their lives aren't heavily documented, it's very easy to put them in these programs without any kind of government raising an eyebrow or anything. So that's basically and essentially they're used as like an interface to connect with the UFO, which have the ability to only be controlled using psionics. And essentially the person who's brought in to control the UFO is doing it, and they're like essentially a human controller that the operator of the machine kind of guides and tells them, okay, now do this, now do that, do this. It's all very wild and interesting stuff, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, we were done watching that, and I thought to myself, I wonder if I could maybe do some meditation and unleash some psionic abilities. So I listened to some binaural beats to help calm my mind, and I meditated for about half an hour. And I won't say that anything cool happened, but I will say that I did feel more at peace and more calm afterwards, and like I was able to work through some mental energy in my brain, so that was cool. So yeah, nice. Then, and as this was playing out, I ate the meal. My sister gave me a taco, which I was just very grateful for. I then had a cup of coffee with 3 zero sugar recess cups, which were pretty decent overall, and 1 sugar-free toffee candy, which was okay. I then needed to use the restroom. After I was done, me and my mom went off to a hardware store to pick up some supplies because my mom got a new cooking top setup, and we needed to get certain supplies like a gas pipe and like yellow tape and some connectors in order to get everything to work. Spent a long time in there. We actually were trying to get some help for another project where we're trying to find a way to put a pullback on a on concrete cement block that fell down, and we were like asking for help, and like there was a guy who pointed us to these like plastic like footy things where you slide like a 2x4 beam into, and apparently that allows for it to stand with ease. But then we tried doing it with like an actual 2x4 long beam that was the same size as what we were trying to use for our project, and it didn't really stay in place. And we asked Google's AI about that and said you need some serious hardcore reinforcement in order for your beam to stay in place, and this just won't work out. So I kind of made a joke about it by asking Google to generate a video of like the poles fall like with the sunshade with just the plastic footies being blown by the wind and flying into the sky, and generated a pretty silly video with like some funny sound effects, and we thought it was hilarious. We got some screws that we could use for the project with the beams to screw the beam that fell off from the concrete, and then we got everything, and we went off to pack everything in the car. My mom noticed that one of the products was more expensive than what was advertised, so we went into the store, we checked the price, we found that yes, it was more expensive than it was being advertised. We went to customer service, they gave us her money back, and then we left. We went to a nearby what do you call those, warehouse stores, like kind of stuff like Costco or Sam's Club, where we went in because my mom's a huge fan of the berry sundae, and she wanted to treat me and her to a berry sundae with pretzels, so we had that. It was really good. Really enjoyed that. And then my mom got a call and got some very sad news that one of her friend's husband sadly passed, so we were very sorry for that loss. It was very sad. Yeah. Must be very hard for that person. I've never met them, but yeah, hearing about how that happened was very, very sad. So we eventually arrived back home, When we got back, my mom asked me to prepare the grill. I prepared it. We put, she prepared the steaks. I put the steaks on the grill, heated those up. I was listening to a new Simeon Jimmy video where he was talking with his friend Biggs. And he said you could literally get any book for free by typing the name of the book and the PDF next to the name of the book, and you'll literally have every single book ever made at your fingertips. So it was like, wow, really? So I tried that with Wicked, The Lifetimes of the Wicked Witch of the West, and lo and behold, the entire book was available for free as a PDF as the first option. So it was like, oh, wow. I didn't know you could do that. So I decided to download that and put it on 11 reader so I could have like a little audiobook to listen to. Thought that would be cool. And I listened to that while I was making the steaks, and yeah, it was pretty interesting. For some reason, the novel starts with the characters like gossiping about like the Wicked Witch for some reason. I guess it's to show like how like characters that are seen as evil are actually misunderstood or something. I don't know. Yeah, so my sister made some potato balls. We had the potato balls with the meat. We had a nice dinner together with the family friend, me, my mom, and my sister. So yeah, and then we decided to watch a new episode of Fallout. Before we did that, there was some serious chemical issue happening near our area, so we looked into that and found out that their only option is they got two options: let the chemical continue to leak, or the chemical explodes. Both of which are not great options. So they're basically trying to stop it from exploding by putting a whole bunch of water on it. Not sure if that's really helping. They evacuated like 50,000 people from the area. It's pretty crazy. And they're all like living in like high schools and stuff right now. It's insane what's going on right now. Yeah, and then after that, we watched a new episode of Fallout, season 2, episode 2. This episode, it starts out where Maximus, like we see his childhood where his like father and his wife are going to have a new child. They're excited about that. But they find out that there's like this guy who was hypnotized who brought an atomic bomb to their area. So the dad tries to detonate the bomb, but his attempt fails. So he decides to protect his son by putting him in a fridge, and the bomb explodes. And yeah, Maximus's mom and dad die right there, but he survives. I looked at that and was like, could you really survive an atomic blast if you were in a lead-lined refrigerator? And I was basically Google said no, you cannot. You would just die. It would basically just be treated as like a nuclear oven that would immediately toast you. So yeah, I think it's so weird how like media like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and this show tries to convince you that, oh no, you'd be fine in a nuclear blast as long as it's a lead-lined refrigerator. You should be okay. It's like, get out of here. That's ridiculous. Yeah, and then we cut to Maximus being part of like the Brotherhood of like Steel, where they're like on a mission taking out like a bunch of like ghouls, and then they yeah, that's about all I remember from that plot point. Like they find Area 51 and they decide to drop off to see what's going on over there. Then we cut to the main lady character, and miss the main character ghoul guy, and they're taking a walk, and they hear someone calling for help in a hospital, so they try to save them, and they also have a ghoul guy. Oh, well, not ghoul. They have another guy who needs help, but the ghoul decides to take the other guy out and tries to eat him because ghouls apparently feed on human flesh, which is crazy. But it turns out that he doesn't like the guy because he was infected by like what do you call those? A giant scorpion, and then suddenly a bunch of mini scorpions start appearing, which are like the size of a cat, and like they go through this sequence where they're trying to take out all these scorpions, and then suddenly there's the mother of all scorpions that's trying to like stab the ghoul guy, and he ends up taking this scorpion out by getting a grenade, feeding it to the scorpion, and pushing the scorpion on its back, and it explodes. But he's in severe pain because he got stabbed by its pincher, and he wants the main character lady to give him the med pack, but she decides to give it to the lady who was calling for help in the first place because she figures that he's a ghoul, which means he's already dead, and she is, and the lady who was calling for help wasn't dead, so she needed the med pack more than him. So she was going to take the lady back to where she needed to be and to teach him a lesson on being selfish, because he used the lady as like a meat shield against the scorpion, to leave him there so he could think about his behavior. And then we cut to the Brotherhood of Steel in the area 52 or 51, sorry, and they make a joke where they are looking around Area 51 and they find like what looks to be a freezer, and they open the freezer and there's a frozen dead alien body in there, and they're like, no way, and then they move like the dead alien body out of the way and say, a freezer box, we could keep all of our stuff cool in here. Yeah, so I guess in the post-apocalypse, people don't care if there's other life on other worlds. They're just trying to survive. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, they take a like fancy 1950s car and they put it out outside, and they shoot it until it explodes just to mess with it. And we paused it right there because my mom and family friend who were suggesting to watch the episode, and I've been awake for the past other episodes, were falling asleep around this point. So I paused this part and they went to sleep. I played a bit of Tomb Raider 1 Remastered on my PlayStation 5. I'm stuck in the second level. I don't know how to get past it. So I was trying to watch a walkthrough, but that was like, oof, I need to use the restroom. So I turned off the PS5, the TV, used the restroom when I was done. I decided to make some basket fries, or what do you call those? Waffle fries. And drink a Fresca and watch a Dan Dingle video about him making songs with different voice impersonation through Suno AI video or image generate or song generators, new feature where you can sing your own voice and then use your voice as a sumo singing voice. So he did that with his buddy, and it was pretty funny. And yeah, after that, I took my vitamins, I brushed my teeth, and I recorded this video. So that's pretty much my day. And overall, it was a pretty decent day. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed now. Have a good night, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody. Take care.